Welcome everyone. Well, we've got 41 people. Welcome everyone to another Chromebook session. Hopefully everybody is having good luck with their Chromebook. I think I'd like to introduce Huey. I think everyone knows Huey Poplock Wave and myself. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on introductions because I think everybody knows us. Today we have lots of interesting things for you. We're going to play you some videos. We can have a chat, talk about your Chromebook, and talk whatever you want to talk about, really. Huey, do you have anything, comments or anything you want to say?
Well, there's just a few things happening in the Chromebook world. The one, of course, we mentioned in our little discussions before we started today, and that's the Google has purchased Neverware, which has the software that people were putting on old computers to make them somewhat Chrome OS compatible. And we'll have to see whether they bought it to kill it or they bought it to improve it. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. But it should work at least. Hopefully, if they keep it, they're going to add the ability to add the Android apps, which it does not support now.
Which is a big deal.
Yes, absolutely.
And I got a note in the chat room. Someone, Clint says, what version of the Chrome operating system does it install? And I'm not that's a good issue because it doesn't upgrade itself. It installs whatever Neverware has for that particular, and I haven't installed Neverware for a while, so I can't tell you what version it is, but it will be the version of whatever Neverware has, right? So
And it is an old one.
it is an old one, right?
Yeah, I think I saw in one of the articles I looked at today for Rod, looked up a couple of things. I think it said it was 65, I think maybe, and we're at 87 now.
Right.
Some of us are still at 86 on some machines, but Robin's finally updated today to 87.
I got a comment in the chat as well. It says, Clint says it does upgrade itself. Oh, does it? I didn't think Neverwhere did. And then what is the best book for Chromebooks for seniors? And there are some books written about Chromebooks. In fact, I usually I have a bunch, but they're down in Mesa, and I review all the books and try and find the most current ones. One of the problems in buying books for Chromebooks is the Chrome operating system changes literally so fast that when you're buying books, their books are usually expensive and they're very dated. And particularly if you're looking for a book, it's just a lot of money. My advice is if you have some problems, is just do a YouTube search or email me and say you're having some problems, and I'll send you a video, a YouTube. There's literally a YouTube video on everything you ever wanted to do with a Chromebook. So I find that videos work better than the books because it's hard to keep the books up to date, right? So
And
that's
if you
my
if you do a Google search, use the tools button in the Google search and put a date in, and usually maybe the past year and sometimes even the past month, and get the most up-to-date articles to answer that question, because some of them can be outdated and you'll get wrong information.
sure. Now, as you know, cloud print is going away, and we thought we'd do a little talk on printers today. So, Huey, I think you've got a little something prepared about printing.
Yeah, let me share my screen
Share your
and
screen, and
sound
we'll.
and move this out of the way. And how to print from your Chromebook without using Google Cloud Print. I'm Huey Poplock. This is from an article by Michael Perigo at Chrome Unboxed, and there's a link to the actual article. With Google Cloud Print going away in just a few weeks on December 31st, 2020, many of you have seen the notice plastered at the top of your Chromebook's print dialog and have reached out to ask what your options are going forward into the new year. Google Cloud Print, or GCP, was created during a time when Google needed to act as an intermediary for Chromebook users' print jobs because many printer manufacturers, did not create drivers for Chrome OS due to its lack of widespread usage. Since that has changed so drastically in the past few years, GCP is no longer necessary, even though it will be missed. And most printers work with Chromebooks out of the box with minimal setup. Here's what happens. You go from your computer or your Chromebook or your Android device, go to Google Cloud Print, and then to the printer. Well, that's not going to be necessary anymore. In fact, it's going to be impossible after the December 31st. So, also, with many printers, you can simply buy a USB A to B cable from your local Best Buy or computer store. Just ask for a printer cable and plug it in to print. That's what the cable looks like. You may even have one lying around your house. This is by far the easiest method for printing on your Chromebook, though the drawback is that your laptop will need to remain tethered to the printer during the process. The second easiest method, connecting your Chromebook to a wireless printer using your home network, and the cups method. For most Chromebook users, standard wireless printing with cups should be a viable replacement for the Google Cloud Print. Cups, or Common Unix Print Service, allows you to print one or two sided pages in black and white or color, set up advanced printing attributes like stapling, paper trays, and even pin code printing management. Basically, it's what you've likely always used before GCP without even realizing it. I will recommend Google's excellent step-by-step visual simulator by Partner Dash, and here is the link. I'll give you a second to take a look at it. In order to get printing on your Chromebook, you'll need to visit the Printers section of the Settings app. To get there, all you need to do is tap on your Everything button or the search button on your Chromebook keyboard and search for it. Next, and this is very important, let's remove your GCP printer from the list of available printers on your device. You may need to remove it from Google Cloud Print web interface, but removing it locally should suffice for now. Since you no longer need it, nor can use it soon, it reduces confusion later if we just remove it now. If you want to wait until it stops working to make sure that you have to go through this, you can do that as well. Once you're in the Settings app on your Chromebook, click in the search bar at the top and type in Printing to get there. If you see your existing printer listed, tap the three dots next to it and then tap Remove. Let's take a look. Settings, Printing, then the three dots, and then remove the GCP printer if applicable. So here is my screen. I click on the Start button or the Search button. And then on this, I get this coming up, and then I type in Print at the top in the search. And you'll see Printing is down below with the gear. So I click on that, and it opens up the settings and takes me to the printers. And my saved printers is strictly my Brother printer. And those are the three dots on the right. If I click on that with my mouse, it'll say Edit or Remove. And what it's saying that I may have to remove it and then reinstall it. All right, so let's connect your printer over the Wi-Fi instead. Since you're already in the printer settings, tap the little icon to the right of Add Printer. And let's go back there. Notice at the bottom it says Add Printer.
A dialog box will pop up called Add Nearby Printer. So long as your printer and your Chromebook are connected to the same network, it should appear on this list. Settings, Printing, Printer icon, select printers from the list. And then you look at the list. If it's not showing, make sure that both the devices are on the same Wi-Fi and try again. If this worked, congratulations. Your printer has been successfully connected to your Chromebook. If you continue to have issues, you're going to connect it using your IP address instead. Your printer's IP address is a unique identifier that allows your Chromebook to communicate with it. To get your printer's IP address, just go to the tiny screen on the front of your printer, tap the cogwheel icon to scroll down to Network or Wireless, and then find View Wireless Details or something similar. I'm generalizing because each company buries the address under different verbiage. You can check with HP, Epson, Brother, Canon, or any other manufacturer for step-by-step instructions via a Google search. Once you locate the IP address, it can be printed out or you can scribble it down on a piece of paper or just memorize it and head back over to your Chromebook. Okay, let's get back on track. So you've tapped on the printer icon and are now presented with a dialog box that is titled Add Printer Manually. Fill out all of the required fields, giving your printer a name. Enter the IP address you just found. It's usually 192.168.something.something, where the X's represent numbers unique to your printer. And then click the blue Add button at the bottom right. You can leave the protocol box and the queue as they are. On the next screen, choose the brand and model of your printer. If your model isn't listed, just find something close to it as you can. This just determines whether or not you get some settings unique to your printer in the print preview window later on. Now, click the blue Add button at the bottom right again, and you've successfully added your printer. If you're printing wirelessly for the first time on your Chromebook, you'll probably find that clicking Control plus the letter P on a document and choosing the blue Save button at the bottom right of the print preview does not send it to your printer. This is very important, and I found many people who continue to have issues do so because they've forgotten to change their print destination. To fix this, just choose the first drop-down labeled Destination and change it from Save as PDF to your printer name. You may need to click See More and then choose your printer from additional dialog box that appears. It's going to look like something like this. Notice on the right, by default, it changed when you have no printer to Save as PDF. You need to then See More, and when you do, you'll see that it may say something like whatever you labeled your printer, it's going to see it, and then you click that, and you want to save that as your destination. If you followed all of the steps above, you should have a printed document coming out of your printer as you read this. Congratulations. Happy printing. I'm Huey Poplock.
There you go. Now,
So,
I do say in there to take your printer and go ahead and delete it and add it now. I'm waiting until the first of the year to see what happens. And if the cloud print is set up and it just goes away and I can't print anymore, then I'll go ahead and do it. So that's up to you. You don't have to do it now. If it's working now, my advice is, yeah, you might just let it work until it doesn't work anymore, then go in. But remember, this is how you have to go back and do it to reinstall it.
Huey,
Yes.
Mike.
Okay, Mike.
I was following along with my Chromebook as you did what you were doing, and I'm pretty sure that I installed my main printer after or without cloud print because it just found it on the list, just like you said. So we have two other printers in the house on our network. And without getting up and going in and seeing what the IP address was, I looked at its settings as Windows sees it. And it's interesting that it was installed with a complex hexadecimal code. Looks very much like an address of some sort. And then after the code, it has a port of 80 and then says /web services /device. So I'm going to try that manually by pasting it in or typing it in.
Yeah,
But there are
the trouble with putting an IP address in is if you reboot your router or you reboot some other things, you may end up having an address change, and then you're going to have to go through it again and change the addresses. That's the only problem by making it IP specific.
But I just don't see why it didn't show up on the list of printers, though, since
Yeah,
it's
and it may be because of their drivers.
could be.
Okay, let's
Bill James
Yeah,
had a
I
quick
can-
question.
Okay.
I have, but it might be longer, but the printer shows up, it says setup. And then when I click on that, it says, can't find a configuration, you have to set it up manually.
Okay,
So would I go in and put the IP address in there, like you're saying?
I that's what it sounds like, but you have to remember that IP address can change, and if it does, then you're going to have to reset it up each time it changes.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we'd like to move on because we have a bunch of stuff to get through, and then we'll maybe do the questions at the end. Okay. All right. So I've got a little something on tips for you. This is about a 20-minute video. We will share the screen and we'll share the sound. Make sure you're ready to go.
Good day and welcome to Learning Chromebooks. Today, Huey and I would like to teach you some new tricks for your Chromebook. If you are a new user, I hope you get some information from this 1-hour tutorial. If you are an experienced user, maybe you'll pick up some tips. So let's see what we have for you today. So I've assembled some tips for you. Let's look at what we have. The first thing I want to talk to you about is your login. You now have your brand new Chromebook, and the first thing your Chrome operating system will want is for you to log in. And to do that, you'll need to know what your username and password is for your Google account. So what is the password for your Google account? Uh-oh, I hope you know it. Otherwise, you are in big trouble. Now, if you are an experienced Chromebook user, you will certainly know your Google account password because you're going to be putting it in every time you want to log into your Google account. But that can also create some problems. Anyway, let's see what we have to do that. So your Google account, your username and password are usually your Gmail address is your username, and your password is whatever your password is for your Gmail account. It also could be the username on your Android phone and password, because that would all be your same Google account because it's all one account. So in setting up your Chromebook, before you get it, before you do anything, please know what your Google account is, what your username is, and what your password is. That is so important because Chromebooks are very account driven. All right, so let's say that you've gone to a lot of our talks on security, and you are bound and determined, you know your Google account is an important account, and you have set up a strong password, as we have suggested, for your Google account. And this could be an example. You even had LastPass, which is a popular password manager, make up your password. And you now have a very complicated and very secure password for your Google account. As you can see on the screen, this is a very long password that we had made, HESPELEMUTEN. Now, hold on here. There's some problems. That's going to drive you nuts every time you want to log into your Chromebook and you have to put that password in. So my worry is that you'll just go and you'll change your Google account password and you're going to make up a new password like 12345 because every time you want to log into your Google account, you certainly don't want to enter that long LastPass made password. So this is a dilemma. What will we do about this? And I wanted to talk to you today about this problem because there's two very simple solutions that you need to know about, okay? So let's talk about these two solutions. All right, the two solutions are this. You can create a unique PIN number for your Chromebook, and we'll talk about how you do that. You can also take your Android phone and through Bluetooth technology, you can pair your phone to your Chromebook. And so you can unlock your Chromebook with your phone. Hey, that's pretty cool. So let's show you how to do this. All right, let's look at creating a unique PIN for your Chromebook. Now remember what we're doing here is we're creating a PIN not for your Google account, but we're creating a PIN for your Chromebook. There's a difference. So let's watch how we might do this. This is my Chromebook, and you'll see us coming along here, and we're going to come over to Settings. We're going to click on Settings, and this is we're going to click on our Settings and come up to the little Settings button there. You'll see that right there, and we're going to click on that. And now we're going to come down, and we're going to come down to Security and Sign In. Now this has changed. If you're an experienced Chromebook user, this has changed a lot. So when you click this, you'll be prompted to put your password in. And when you put your password in, you'll be prompted to create a PIN, and you'll be given the option to create a 6-digit PIN for your Chromebook. And this will unlock your Chromebook so you don't actually have to enter your long, complicated password for your Google account. So now when you enter into your Chromebook, you will have the option, and I'll show you this in a few minutes, where you'll have the option of either choosing your Google password or your PIN. Now, if you look at my login, this is my login on my Chromebook, you'll see that it says I can put my password in. You'll see that right there. But if you look underneath there, it says switch to PIN. And if you click on that, now that I have a PIN set up, you'll be prompted to enter your PIN number instead of your password. This is all changed in the recent versions of Chrome OS. So you may want to rethink this if you're an experienced Chromebook user and you haven't changed these settings. I would really encourage everyone to set up a PIN number. All right, let's keep going. So this is now, when I switch it over to a PIN number, this is what it looks like. So now I can log in with a 6-digit PIN number, which certainly will be a lot easier than that complicated LastPass generated login password. But that's also important because we want to keep our Google account safe. So that's a good password. It's hard to remember and it's hard to put all those numbers in. So that's why a PIN, this is a unique PIN number just for your Chromebook. Remember, this isn't a PIN number for your Google account. You can only use this on your Chromebook, okay? Now, the next way you can do it is you can pair your phone to your Chromebook. And you can unlock your Chromebook with your phone. And let's show you how to do that. So all right. So now we're coming along. We're going to come to the Start menu again, and then we're going to come up and we're going to click on the Settings tablet, okay? Settings, and we're going to come down and we're going to look for Settings. And it says right here, Connected Device. Now you'll see I have my Pixel phone connected, and you'll see the little toggle switch is on. So when we come over to the next menu, you're going to see the first thing here is called Smart Lock. And there's a little button at the top here. You'll see the first button. We want to make sure that's ticked. And then we'll come down and make sure Smart Lock is turned on. Then you'll click this. And so this brings you to the next menu. And you can see there's two things that you can do with Smart Lock. You can actually unlock your Chromebook, but you can also unlock and log into your Chromebook as well. Then the next one down is called Instant Tethering. And this is where you can have your Chromebook tethered to your phone to use for internet. So if you don't have an internet connection, you're out traveling around, you can use your phone as a hotspot and it will instantly connect to your phone, and you will have access to the internet. And again, I didn't set notifications up, but you can certainly do that. And if you lose your phone or your Chromebook, you can simply disconnect the relationship between the two for security. Now, in this case, what you're going to see is this is what you would get if you had your phone paired to your Chromebook and you wanted to unlock it. All you have to do is you have to just click on your picture, and that will automatically enter you right into your Chromebook, and you won't have to put your username and password in. Now, I must tell you that I couldn't get mine to work today. I don't know why it won't work. I just recently turned on the PIN number, and it may be there's something with the latest edition of the Chrome operating system, is that if you have your PIN number enabled, maybe the unlocking with the phone won't work. I'm not sure. I couldn't get mine to work, but that's how it's always worked. I've used it a lot in the past, and all you do is click on your picture, and boom, it unlocks your Chromebook, and that just works great. Okay, that's our first tip I wanted to talk about. All right, let's look at a new feature on Chrome OS 87, which is the recent version release. So let's look at a new feature on this. So on my Chromebook, you'll see us now coming along, and I'm going to go over to the launcher, and we're going to click Open. And I'm going to pin the Files app to the shelf. See, there's the Files application. It's the app, and I'm going to pin it to the shelf. So I think you all know how to pin it to the shelf. So now I always like that to be pinned to the shelf. So now we're going to open this up, and we're going to come and we're going to look for a file. And let's look here, and we're going to come down and we're going to find a file that I'm looking for. Not that one. Let's go back. There we go. And we're going to come down one more till we come to Chromebook SIG. And let's come up to this. This is an MP4, and I want to have this available later. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to open it, but I'm just going to highlight it, and I'm going to come up to the top, and you see a new menu line here called Available Offline with the toggle switch. And I'm going to toggle that on, and now this MP4 file will be downloaded onto my Chromebook, and it will be available for my local device even if I'm offline. The actual file will be on the computer or the Chromebook. So this is a new feature, this toggle switch that you can toggle on and off. So if you want any files you're working on and you want them available locally on your Chromebook without being connected to the internet, just toggle that switch and they will be stored right on the Chromebook's hard drive. And that's a new feature for Chrome OS 87. All right, let's look at how the Alt-Tab feature has changed a little bit in Chrome OS 87. All right, so in this demonstration, I have 4 apps open on my Chromebook. I have Chrome opened as an app. I have Google News opened as an app. I have the Files menu opened as an app. And I have Google Photos opened as an app. What I'm going to show you now is that you can use the Alt-Tab, clicking the Alt and then Tab, to toggle through all 4 apps quickly. So you don't have to actually go back and use a mouse. You can do it right off the keyboard commands. Alt-Tab will take you to the next one, Alt-Tab, and it will cycle through that. What Chrome OS 87 has done, it has given you the opportunity to use the Alt and the arrow key to go through the menu. And let me just show you the difference here. Let's watch this now as I do this. Okay, here on my Chromebook, I'm going to do the Alt-Tab. Watch the Alt and the Tab. And I can now toggle through, but I have to toggle through them completely in a cycle. So if I miss one, it won't work. But now if you look at my right hand, I can use the arrow key and I can go back and I can choose which one I want. So the arrow key was added to the tab rather than having to cycle through the whole 4 apps. And this could be more advantageous if you had maybe 10 apps open, okay? And that's a new feature in Chrome OS 87. All right, another feature with Chrome OS 87 is it will show you the battery life of attached Bluetooth devices. And in this example, I'm going to show you how much battery life my attached Bluetooth mouse has. So let's see how that works. You'll see me starting, we'll start the video. And you'll see me coming along and going to the setup menu. And here you'll see my Bluetooth mouse showing that it has 35% of battery left in it. Now it has a couple of AAA batteries, so the battery life, so there's 35% less. This would also work for attached devices such as Bluetooth earphones that you might have, or any Bluetooth devices you have attached to your Chromebook. You now can see how much battery life there is in the attached devices. New feature for Chrome OS 87. Chrome OS 87 updated their backgrounds for your Chromebook. Let me show you. There's some really cool stuff that they did. Let me show you some of the backgrounds that are available in this version. Really interesting. 2-finger click, and we will bring up wallpaper, set wallpaper. And these are all the different backgrounds that you can choose, and there are a lot more added with this version. You can come down, and in this particular one, there's a daily refresh option. If you chose that, it would refresh daily. You can come down and look at all these. Look at the ones, this is the canvas. This is one of the ones I'm using now. Let's select this one and bring it up, and that's a pretty nice looking background for your Chromebook. So have a look at them. There are a whole bunch of new backgrounds for you. You can certainly have a look at that and see which one you like. Play around with them. Maybe change some different ones each day. Enjoy your Chromebook. And finally, Chrome OS 87 has improved on their virtual keyboard. Let me show you how this works. Now, I have my laptop in tablet mode now, so it's flipped open. So that's it's sort of sitting half up on my desk. So it's a little bit awkward angle, but let me show you how this will work. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to touch a little bit harder, and this opens the keyboard up, and now I can write. And I'm going to write on the tablet, and the first word is I'm going to write this, but I didn't do very well, so I scratched it out. And so I write this is, and I'm trying to write example, but I'm pretty sloppy in my writing and I'm not getting it very good. So I just scratch it out and can rewrite it again. And it finds it, but I'm not really happy with that, so I scratch that out. Try it again. And scratch it out. I'm going to come back and I'm going to scratch out and take that out and put this is a test. And there we go. And it writes it out for me. And I'm finished. And it said this is a test. So this is a quick way of getting notes into your Chromebook. I don't use this, so I'm not very good at it. But it is a just always remember with your Chromebook that you do have the opportunity, if you have a flip, that you can use it as a in tablet mode, and it has a very powerful writing option for you if you have a pen. So in summary, what have we covered today? Well, we talked about the alternate login to your Chromebook. You now can set up and use a PIN number, or you can use your smartphone to unlock your Chromebook. We identified and showed you the new toggle switch that you can use to save either files or folder to your local drive on your Chromebook. It's now as simple as just a toggle switch over whatever you want to save so that you can use it at a later time when you're offline. We showed you how to move between apps. You can move by using the Alt-Tab key to cycle through them, but the new feature is the Alt arrow, the right or left arrow. We showed you the Bluetooth monitoring devices now, so all your Bluetooth devices that are paired to your Chromebook, it'll tell you how much battery life is in those peripheral devices. And we showed you new backgrounds. Oh wow, some of those are pretty darn cool, so have lots of fun with those. And then we showed you the handwriting on the virtual keyboard. So it's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. I hope you've enjoyed this little video we made for you today. It will be available online, so you can play it back if you need to reference it in the future. Enjoy your Chromebook.
Now, Ron, the Chromebook that you're using, is that the Pixelbook? Does that handwriting work on other?
Yeah, it would work on any of the flip ones. You'd have to flip them, and you need it. Of course, you need a stylus pen.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to try that on mine.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the. It depends on that, but yeah, if you have the stylus pen, it works. All right, I know there might be some questions, but here we had a couple of short videos now we wanted to get in, and then we will have some time for questions. Huey, which one do you want to go with first?
Since you did the tips, I'm going to go ahead and do the one that I have on the tips as well. Let me close this one. And because one of them is one you covered, but I cover it in a little bit a different way, but
Okay.
do add some of the things you
And
talked
tricks
about.
Number 2 for your Chromebook. I'm Huey Poplock. You can open two apps side by side in a split screen mode. Currently I have one. There is a second window now open. Now you can drag the app to the left or to the right of the screen. When you see that half of the screen is lit up, you let go. and then either select another app, active app from the overview interface, or open a new app from your launcher to fill up the other half. You can do this with any combination of websites, Chrome apps, Android apps, and even Linux apps. So let's see how that's done. We're going to take the one program, move it all the way to the left until we see about half the screen lit up. You'll see that in just a moment. And you let go. And it's now filled half the screen. Now you do the right, all the way to the right until it lights up half the screen, and you let go. And now you have them on a split screen. You can go back and forth from one to the other without it being overlapped or turning one on and off. So you can copy and paste. You can have a document open and then have something you're copying from to type and make it your own. Your Chromebook has a handy overview interface for juggling open apps and windows. You can get to it by pressing the button that looks like a box with two lines on your keyboard in the function row directly to the left of the brightness controls, or by pressing the similarly shaped icon that appears in the lower right-hand corner of the screen when the Chromebook is in tablet mode. Then you can click on any of the items and it brings that one forward. You can keep going back by clicking that same key and getting back to the overview mode. You can get to something similar to this by clicking your Alt key, holding it down, and then hitting Tab. As you hit the Tab key each time, continuing to hold the Alt key down, it will go from one to the other, and whichever one you stop at and let go of the keys, it will open that app. Similarly, you can do the same thing on a Windows computer. Here's another tip for you. Have you ever wanted to have a caps lock on your Chromebook? Because there's no caps lock key, it's a search key. Well, if you click that search key and hold it down and then go to the Alt button, it turns on your caps lock. And to turn it off, you just reverse it or do it again. You'll hold the search key and hit the Alt button and it turns it off. So you'll have a toggle switch. Turn it on, turn it off by hitting the search key or everything key and the Alt key at the same time. So now you can shout at anybody at any time. That's what they call all caps, is shouting.
There we go. So you can see I covered it a little bit as well. The Alt Tab, and you can reverse the Alt Tab by doing, I believe there's another key you can hit and it'll go the other way. You can go one way or the other. But let me go ahead and do the other video I have, and then we can do the any Q&A, any more Q&A. So let's see. Green. Close this. And there we go.
Chromebook Auto Update Expiration Explained. I'm Huey Poplock. The information I'm about to give you came from this website at google.com from their support website, and I will show you this link at the end of the presentation as well. Chrome devices such as the Chromebook and Chromebox and other Chrome-based systems receive automatic updates that enhance both the device and its software. Device updates provide the latest features and keep the device secure and are applied across the operating system, browser, and hardware. These updates depend on many device-specific non-Google hardware and software providers that work with Google to provide the highest level of security and stability support. For this reason, older Chrome devices cannot receive updates indefinitely to enable new operating system and browser features. Every Chrome device receives regular updates from Google until it reaches its auto update expiration, or AUE, date, listed below, subject to support from component manufacturers. When a device reaches the AUE, automatic software updates from Google will no longer be provided. Chrome devices that have not reached their AUE date will continue to receive operating system updates. After the AUE date is reached, existing and future policies may not work as intended, and the technical support will not be provided. Google will publish a model's AUE date on the page that I'm showing you after its release, giving buyers time to make purchase decisions. Please check the AUE date when making a purchase decision. When you go to the page, you'll find the manufacturer of the Chromebook device. And in this case, I am going to go to Acer. And the model that I purchased for my first Chromebook was an R11 from Acer. And the AUE date on that is June 2022. I also recently purchased a Dell computer about a year ago, and its expiration date will be in June of 2025. That date of expiration is based on the release date of the model, not when you purchase it. So you can buy a brand new Chromebook that may have an AUE date of just a few months or maybe just a year away. So you need to check in advance before you make the purchase of how long you're going to be able to continue to get updates to the operating system. Again, here is the address. This has been Chromebook Auto Update Expiration Explained. Again, I'm Huey Poplock.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention, it is not easy. If you go to Best Buy and you want to buy a Chromebook, and there is no way of finding that date because the date is in the software in the Chromebook. Now they are talking, and as hopefully in the new year, when new Chromebooks come out, they're going to actually have the date stamped on the box. So when you actually go to Best Buy or wherever you're going to buy it, you can actually look at the physical box and it will tell you what the expiration date is. And that's important because if you're looking at two machines and you can't really figure out which one you want, you would always want to take the one that had the extra year, right? I mean, that would make the sense because you want to get the maximum out of it. But it's just, there's not an easy way of finding that unless you open it up and turn the machine on, right? Huey?
Actually, there's no way, even if you turn on the machine, to find it that I can find. And that's why going to that website that Google has with each of the manufacturers and then the model numbers, you go to that and you'll be able to find it.
So it should be on the box. That was the recording that I had. All right, we have 10 minutes. Any questions on anything we've covered today? As you know, this will be taped, and you'll be getting a message. We'll be sending you out the links to it, and you will be able to play it back. Yes, Jim.
What kind of pen were you using on the flip side, the tablet mode?
It's a Pixel pen. That pen is specific for the Pixelbook. All right. So it was it depends on the manufacturer that you have, and some manufacturers require you to use specific pens with it. The Pixelbook does. So that is a Pixelbook pen that I had.
So we would have to go to the manufacturer, list the model, and see what kind of pen to use.
Yeah, and there are some generic pens that will work, but I don't think on the Pixelbook. I was lucky because Best Buy, the pen was $120, right? It was crazy. I wasn't gonna do that, but I found it on sale. Best Buy had it on sale for $40. So I thought, okay, great. So I quickly picked it up and got the pen for $40. Again, it depends on the unit. We had I had the original Samsung Chromebook, and it came with the little pop-out pen, the little one that pops out, and you could use that and do that. And so some of them come with pens, some you have to buy the pens. It depends.
Yeah, Mike Ungerman and I each have a Dell Chromebook, and buried in the case is a plastic pen. It's you would think wouldn't be expensive at all. I called Dell and they couldn't tell me a model number to get an extra pen if I lost mine. And so I ended up doing some searches and found that I think it was Sony had the same case. They buy the case, and the case happened to have the pen in it. They didn't know anything about it. And so, but I understand now there is a part number at Dell for it, but I think I paid $30 or $40, and it's just a piece of plastic. It's not even a battery operated or anything, but it's specific for that. But I can still use a stylus that comes on the end of a pen as well, but it doesn't do all of the same things.
For those of you just a minute, Bob, before, I just want to mention, for those of you who are experienced Chromebook users, you will have noticed when I talked about the PIN and the password is in the early days of Chromebooks, you could always put a PIN number in, but it said PIN and password, not or. And so if you were using Chromebooks in the original times, Google would your Chromebook would either, for some bizarre reason, sometimes it would ask you for a password, sometimes it would ask you for a PIN number, right? And because of that, I always just kept my password on, and I just used my password, right? But recently with the new operating, and I don't know if it's just 87, if you look at what on my video, it's or, not and, or. They change it to or. So if you do switch it to password or a PIN, then it's always just a PIN. Okay, so it is changed. So if you have used your Chromebook for a while, this is a difference. Bob, sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, George Bowden had a question in your chat.
Okay, good one, thank you. Let's have a look. George. Okay, I have an Acer, blah, 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 white 15-inch Chromebook that keeps waking up despite the lid being closed. I put the button magnet over the sensor, but it's unreliable. Does anyone have this problem and a solution? So let me just talk a little bit about closing your Chromebook. And I do this all the time, right? As everyone should know, there are two copies of your operating system on your Chromebook. There's the primary and secondary copy. It's the secondary copy that always gets updated, not the primary. And when you turn your Chromebook off, in other words, you shut it down, it switches. So the secondary copy becomes the primary and the primary becomes the secondary. It switches the two. Now, in my case, since I never do that, I'm lazy, I just close the lid and it puts it to sleep. So it doesn't turn it off. So the copies, so they don't get switched. And then you'll get messages coming up saying, reboot your Chromebook because an update is being applied. And that's the reason you're going to get that message, is because you actually didn't turn it off. You just put it to sleep. All right. So as long as everybody knows that, and probably, so what I would do with George is I would turn it off. In other words, depower it, log out and turn it off, and you shouldn't have that problem. Putting it together is just putting it to sleep and it's waking up. Okay, any other questions? I'm sorry I wasn't very good at handwriting. I mean, the Chromebook really is a very good, you can write like crazy, and it's really good. It really does get your handwriting, and it's an excellent. You know, you can take notes and do all sorts of things with it. I just don't do that, and I'm not very good. So I'm not a very good person to
I do have to point out something, though, to everybody, that you are a retired physician.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
why you can't read the
I have
handwriting.
bad writing. Yeah. Plus, it was also sitting, it's sort of sitting, you couldn't really see it. It's not flat down, and I wasn't really writing something flat. It was sitting halfway up. So it was a bad demo that I did, but it does really work quite well in tablet mode. And that's one of the reasons why I always recommend you get a flip. If you're going to buy a Chromebook, I always like the flip so you can make a tablet out of it.
And you can still do the dictation. So if your handwriting isn't good and your typing is like mine, you might want to sit there and just talk and let it
Right.
digitize your speech.
Sure.
And hey, I look at the time. We're
3
almost
minutes
there.
left. Jim, what have you got for a question?
Apropos, I've tried to set up this dictation. How do you do that?
Well, there should be a microphone that comes up. And
Yeah, I see the microphone, but what, you just click on that?
well, you're going to have to be in a program that's going to accept it, and then just talk into it. Yes.
Well, how do you know which program accepts it? By trial and error?
Yeah, I would try with trial and error, but if it's got the microphone there, it should work. I would do it with like the word processor. Any word processor should work. Your email should work.
Google Docs?
I'm sorry?
Google Docs?
Yeah.
Works in Google Docs, yeah.
But you also have to go into this. You have to go into the settings and enable it in the settings section.
Yeah. Make sure it's go into your settings and make sure it's enabled. And I can't remember where that is, if it's under accessibility or not. It may be.
Roger said it is, yeah. So that's
accessibility.
And it's really good. I mean, I used to use Dragon all the time, and I did all that training on Dragon. I had to train the voice models and all that sort of stuff. This is like crazy good. Like, you don't have to do any training, and it's really, really good. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah, well, I've tried. I like to dictate, on my phone, the Samsung, but it's not as accurate as Dragon used to be.
Yeah. Well, Huey, it's 10 o'clock.
3 o'clock here.
No, that's 11. Actually, no, 12 o'clock. No, it's 12 o'clock. Yeah, it's 12. Sorry, it's 12 o'clock, right? It's top of the hour. What do you think? Should we call it a day?
I believe we're going to have to.
So everyone remember that we will be sending out the link to this. It's being recorded, and we will send you out the recording so you can play it back, listen to it again. It'll also have the playlist so you can look at all the other recordings that we've done. We will see you I guess we see you next year, right?
Yep, be next year. Yes. Everybody have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
We'll see you in the new year. We'll have something for you.
Unless we see you Monday at Tech for Seniors.
Yes, exactly. And we'll probably have another operating system updated by next year anyway. So we'll have a whole bunch more stuff we can talk about, which will be cool.
I bet we do.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you learned something today. I hope we covered some things that helped you. And happy computing and happy everything.
Merry Christmas to
Merry
everybody
Christmas.
and a happy
Thanks,
New
Shannon.
Year.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you.